In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 extremely easy and fast tips that you can use to turbocharge your credit score. So follow these tips, your credit score will increase really quickly. First one, get a credit card. If you have a credit card, you can show evidence of effective money management. Without a credit card, you can't show that evidence that you're good at managing money. So no credit card, get one. Second tip, avoid making lots of applications. If you're applying for credit all over the place, that scares lenders, and quite rightfully so. Makes you look desperate, makes you look like I really need money quickly and I want to borrow from everyone at the same time. So you want to space out your applications. If you applied for too many recently, stop applying. Give it a few months. Let that degrade on your credit score. When you do come to apply, carefully pick out a card and run eligibility checkers. So you need to check that you're very likely to be accepted for the card you're going to apply, so you don't waste a go. If you apply for an American Express and you've got a very low income, you're going to be rejected. That's going to go in your credit file. That's going to lower your score for no reason. Do an eligibility check, make sure you're going to be accepted, then apply. Third step, you want to maintain long and stable relationships. So if you've got bank accounts with, overdraft and borrowing facilities on them, keep them open. Maybe don't use it, but you want to have old accounts with long, stable relationships. And in order to do that, you have to pick your cards carefully. You don't want to have to keep closing cards because you want to take up a different one for a different offer. You want to have a good set of credit cards to show those long-term positive relationships. Fourth one, set up reminders or pay all of your bills automatically. This is an example of a Google Calendar. So if you put on all of the dates that you've got bills, Google will send you email reminders, and when you see those email reminders, you can either pay it or check that it's being paid, or better idea is to pay everything through automatic payments. So if you forget, well, doesn't matter. So the bank did it for you. It's paid. Problem solved. By missing payments, your credit score will go down massively. By consistently making payments, it shows good money management. Good money management means higher credit scores in general. Fifth, you have to check that everything's correct. If there's anything wrong on your credit report, it will trash your credit. So to go through the things you have to check, we have correct addresses. People forget about that. They have wrong addresses, and some cards have one address and some accounts have different addresses. That doesn't look very good. Correct credit accounts. So if you've got accounts showing up that are not yours or that have been closed but not recorded as closed, make sure that's all correct. Financial links. So if you've got an ex-partner that's managing money terribly and you can sever links with them, your credit score could even go up. If they think you're linked to someone who's not good at managing money, that makes you more of a risk. So you have to sever any financial links with ex-partners or people that shouldn't be there. Biggest one, any defaults, so missed payments that weren't actually missed, judgments that weren't actually against you, or worst of all, if you've been declared bankrupt according to your credit score, but you were never actually bankrupt, that will massively tank your score. Correcting just one error could potentially really turbocharge your score. And so when you get your credit report, there should be a button where you can dispute. And if you can show documentary evidence that backs up your claim, you can have corrections made, and that will have a huge effect. Fifth idea, set up rent reporting. So you're paying your rent on time every month. That's great. You're not getting any credit for it. However, with rent reporting, you can get that consistent payment that you're making and managing effectively increase your credit score. So you're going to report your rent to the credit agency. You're going to always pay on time, and you will see your score improve. It's a double-edged sword, however. If you're paying it full and on time, your score should creep up. However, if you pay your rent late or you default on your rent, that means you don't pay it 1 month, or that's really going to hurt you. That will hurt a lot. So you can only do this if you're good at maintaining your rental payments. So in the UK, you've got a company called Credit Ladder that's a leader, and in the USA, Rent Track allows you to do this. At number 7, if you're in the UK, simply register to vote. Just go onto the government website, type in register to vote. You'll find this. It's free. Do it. Boom. Credit score has gone up. It can be that simple. Number 8, lower your credit utilization. That's a very posh word that the credit bureaus use. So let's look at what it actually means and how it really does make a lot of sense. So on the left, we've got someone who's almost maxed out. The darker color is showing the amount that they've used, and that tiny little bit at the top, that's how much they have available. So this is someone who's maxed out their credit. And so if they borrow a little bit more money, they're going to suddenly find they can't get any more money, and that's potentially going to be disastrous. And they're going to start going, well, I can't afford to live, and I just don't have enough money to pay all the bills. And then they start collapsing, and then the companies have to wait for their money. And you don't want to lend to that person. Someone with careful usage who's got lots of unused credit, so the ratio of used to unused is very low, well, they're clearly less of a risk, because if they're hit by, their car breaks down, they've got the credit available to solve that problem without defaulting on their loans. And if you just look at these two graphs and ask yourself, who would you rather lend money to? Well, of course, the person with careful usage, and therefore, guess who has the highest credit score? Someone who manages their money carefully and keeps those utilizations lower. So by paying back debt, suddenly your credit score goes up. Ninth idea, similar idea with these graphs, is to cut your available credit. And you want to close the newer accounts first. That comes on to a previous point of maintaining long-standing positive relationships with creditors. So let's look at this graph. So we've got this person has got not that much available credit, and they're carefully managing it. We look at this other person, they've got loads of available credit. I mean, look at card 2, there's 4,500 available on that one. So the second person potentially could borrow very, very large amounts of money with other companies. So if you're credit card company 1, you're going to much prefer the first person to the second. Or if you're going to be card number 4 for the second person, you're going to be a bit worried. There's a lot of money available there. And so again, ask yourself, who would you rather lend money to? Of course, you're going to lend money to the person with lower available credit, because they can't get themselves into as big a hole potentially. And last tip, this is what I would call a pro tip, because it's quite difficult to do, is to actually make sure you pay off your card before it's reported. You have to be really on top of things to do that. So in reality, maybe you're using a lot of your cards. You're hitting very high usage on them, close to their limits, but the credit card company actually sees something that looks like this. Sneaky, isn't it? So by paying it off just before it's reported, they get to see this wonderful management, but you get to use your cards to their full potential. So with very, very skilled money management, you can actually manipulate it a little bit. So to do this, you want to ensure that balance is always lower 0 before the closing date on your statement. And that will give you a perhaps artificially high credit score. So hopefully this video is helpful to you. Follow these 10 tips and your credit score will improve. Thank you very much for watching.